Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Broad Daylight with me, Priscilla Moore. Today we're going to talk about waste management, and I have one fine man with me. He's an expert actually. And my public request is here again to speak to us about how best we can manage our solid waste as a country. And before that, you know that about 12,710 tons of solid waste are generated daily here in Ghana, and with only 10% collected and disposed at its designated destination or designated refuse dump or refuse site. That is fantastic. By the way, this is a major challenge in our management system, and of which I have with me in the studio no other than the professor himself. I call him my professor, Dr. Salim Al Rawahy. He's an environmental expert who will be helping us to get to how best we can make use of our solid waste, the pros and cons of hazardous waste as well. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Thank you very for inviting me in the studio. I'm very glad and very appreciative of it.
Fantastic. You're looking amazing. You're always growing young. Tell us your secrets.
Well, this is Ghana. I'm in Ghana.
Okay.
You have natural products, natural things, so that's
oh, fantastic.
helping.
I see.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I will have to come for some tips, look always 16. Or what do you say about it?
Okay, we'll talk later.
All right.
Thank
All
you
right,
very much.
sir. Yeah, also glad to have you in our studio. So today we are talking about waste management. You've been in Ghana for some time, and I believe that you've seen the number of waste that we produce. Like I said, statistically, we produce 12,710 tons in a day. So you can imagine the volumes of waste we make as a country.
Yes.
And what is solid waste, and how much do we produce?
First of all, after thanking you for inviting me, solid waste is actually any waste that is coming from human.
Okay.
Is we can define as material.
Okay.
That is unwanted material.
Okay.
From the activities of human society, and this can be in all activities done by human, from household to transportation, industries. Research institutions, universities, and so on. Even the military and all sectors and human societies are producing one or the other type of waste. And each of these has different features and characteristics.
I see.
Some of these can be called as municipal waste, coming from household, from human society, or from houses and daily activities from houses. These are called municipal waste. If you talk about municipal waste, it can be categorized as, many people they categorize it as non-hazardous waste.
Okay.
But if you look deep on that, you can find out even household materials, some of that actually are hazardous material, including, for example, paints, batteries. Batteries are very hazardous materials.
Really?
Okay, yes. And so in reality, if you have waste management planning, and if you want to do some like recycling in future, reuse of this material, then should be separated.
I see.
Yeah, and in general, maybe a higher percentage of municipal waste is organic waste, like food and so on.
Okay.
But it includes also plastic, because nowadays we cannot avoid plastics.
Exactly.
Everything is used is actually in supermarkets, in containers, bags, and everything. You can see that plastic become very popular and replace the old container. In old age, people they are using natural material, wood and others for
ceramics.
Yes,
and
and so on. But nowadays, because of cheap production of plastic, as well as availability of material to produce plastic, and therefore plastic becoming part of our societies everywhere. And therefore, if you look at the municipal waste, quite big percentage is also including, other than talking about organic waste, is also plastic. Papers
Okay.
is the other type, textiles,
Okay.
plastic, and as well as batteries which are using, if they are used at homes,
Okay.
and so on. All of these are included in municipal waste.
Okay.
And if you look at that, this is some disasters happening, and people, they don't realize at all, because as household, I'm taking my bag to outside my house, and then what is happening? I'm telling you that maybe 80%, 90%, 70% of people in society, they cannot realize what is happening after that. What is happening after that is a challenge to authorities, as well as environmental problems starting to happen immediately after you put things outside your house. Or people that forget completely after you put your rubbish outside the house, and you tend to forget completely. But it's disaster, because from the first day you put on outside, then the materials are on authorities how to collect it. Is it collected daily? Is it collected weekly? Okay. I give example. Traveling in many countries, you can see a lot of differences in that. Here in Ghana, I travel in many cities. In sometimes they're collecting every 2 days.
Okay.
In some places, which I used to stay. But I have seen that some places is not collected even after 7 days, 1 week, and this is not good at all.
In Ghana,
Okay. In some places, yes. I have experienced some places. For example, I drop it in my bag outside on the dustbin, and it's there for another 1 week until it came to be collected. Okay, maybe it happened that week or that time not collected, but this is causing a lot of serious problems. You may tell me what is that? These problems are including, because I say that it contains a lot of raw materials, including organic material, and these are decomposed very quickly, especially on temperature like 25 and above. These tend to decompose very quickly. On decomposition, you will get a lot of growth of microorganisms, including bacteria, virus, fungus, and so on. This is causing a lot of disease on the environment,
Okay.
on the area. Other thing that this is a very excellent microenvironment for multiplication of flies. Flies, and therefore flies are very happy in this area. In this, maybe knowledge people, they don't know that a couple or pair of flies, male and female, or couple of flies, starting from, if there's no stopping for them for reproduction, they, after 1 week, most of the type or species of flies, they can lay their eggs over 100. We talk about hundreds of flies. Therefore, first week you will have new generation, say 100, this minimum number. Then the second generation, after 2 weeks, each of those produce another 100, any other pairs. Then talking about just about 3 months, is not talking about pair, we're talking about millions.
Wow.
If there's nothing stopping them in reproduction, therefore this number are growing exponentially.
That's right.
In the society. So this is another problem, because flies tend to
They carry germs and all
yes, a lot of diseases.
So with all these, how can we produce less solid waste?
Yes. Okay, let us finish one point.
Okay.
Not only flies, then you got rodents.
Okay.
Increasing rodent, and they're getting food and shelters and so on. The other thing that you get domestic animals. I have seen some domestic, like goats, the camels, and cows and cattle and so on, sheep. when they see this material, especially papers and so on, they can come and eat. And this also contribute to the spread of illness in the society, because they're going back home, they're back so on to people, therefore they carry some of these diseases. And these rodents, they're going to home at night and so on, they also touch food of the people, they're carrying a lot of disease, very serious diseases, I'm talking about that. The other thing, birds also, when they see this, they come and take this food and also spread diseases. The other thing is smell.
Okay.
So we're talking about illness from microorganism to organism to the society, to smell itself, and also in terms of appearance of waste piles out of your home. All of this actually is becoming, we as a human, we should be more advanced than that. Okay. So here we got challenge. Waste management start from this point, from houses, and then you got transportation. Are we transporting in a correct way? Because it should be transported in a better way, so no smells on the street, or no smells come out and microorganisms and so on spread on the street and so on. And then we have, if there are any transfer stations. Transfer station, for example, in a city you have different halls, different cars taken from different positions. Okay. So this should come in one place, and there should be some treatment. Okay. Because you cannot send all halls, all cars, all vehicles should go to the landfill, for example, or processing area very far. So you tend to make process on local sites and transfer station call. This can be reduced in size, baling, shredding, and so on. There are many different treatment can be done in transfer station as a first point before transporting to disposal area or treatment area and so on. So this should help a lot in terms of the cost, because you're talking about cost is very worldwide. If you look at the cost of waste management, about 50% is actually coming from the management of transportation, from disposal, from houses, and transportation and disposal. This is also almost 50% of the cost of the waste management, and the cost is very high. It's not that cheap. I see. So their question regarding how to reduce and so on. There are many strategies of reduction of waste production. First of all, that it has to be done from people themselves. Okay. Then the second step is for manufacturers. The third step is authorities. All this should be line as integrated management. You cannot, separate each of this at all. People themselves, they have to realize that how to use materials, to select good material. Okay, if they're going to shop, that you can buy product which is lasts for only few days, then you are generating more waste. If you select a product which can be durable more time, therefore your waste stream is becoming less.
Can you give us a typical example? Okay, let's put ourselves in this particular kind of shoes. We eat every day. Yes. So I go to the market to maybe buy groceries, or I go to a grocery shop to buy groceries. Yeah. I'm hungry and I buy something that is packaged. Definitely I'll make waste. Yeah. So how best do you think we can...
Food, I cannot say reduce to it. No, don't reduce to it. But you should not take more than what you need, first of all. Many people, they throw, say, 30% or 40% of what they have purchased to dustbin. That should not be. You should take something that enough for you and try to reduce extra food to go to the dustbin. Okay. That is one way. The other thing, that when you select food on the shelf, maybe you select less packaged. You don't have to have a plastic container. Then outside you have a carton container, and then you take extra bag. So this is, you add on that. So if it's enough to be on the plastic container, on the container itself, so those manufacturers here, they play the role that they should not add
Extra plastics.
extra packages outside if it's not needed. Okay,
I see.
this is the role can be paid manufacturers because they put for attractive. Maybe you buy your telephone is this size, but the box is this size. Okay, so sometimes you buy materials like, for example, creams or shampoos. If they are in the container, which is can stand by itself, so you don't have to put it outside paper
Really?
cartoon. Well, if it's not needed, if you can put all labels, everything, and it's plastic and stand it on the shelf and you can use it. So because what you do, when you buy it, you just open it and throw it. So this adding. Yeah,
It's
just
branding, or
imagine.
are you not branding our products for it to attract clients?
No, attraction is one thing, but if when you look at waste management plans, that can be should be avoided. I know some countries now they ban about putting extra package outside if it's not required. Toothpaste, for example, creams, and all this material that they are already in a good package, in plastic package or bottle or glass, therefore should not add other package outside. So this is actually adding. Just imagine that in your society, for example, in Accra, there are about 1.5 million people. There are about, say, about 500,000 houses. If every house every day purchasing one cartoon, therefore there are 500,000 cartoon every day going to waste stream, and therefore if this can be avoided, you are going to reduce considerable amount of waste in your waste stream.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah.
So how you know what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of reusing recycled materials?
Yeah, first of all, in management plan as a whole, we say that from household, from people themselves, then manufacturing, and so on and so on. Yeah, but going to people, they had to realize about the 3 R's. That is, first of all, is reduce. What you're consuming, try to reduce.
Okay.
Okay, and your waste production daily should come down as possible, as minimum as possible. So from personal, from people, each person, because now in general people are producing about, say, 500 kilogram of waste per year, so try to reduce it to make 300, 400, and so on. So this will make a contribution on waste reduction. The way the reduction is one way, the first priority here. The second thing is try to reuse materials as possible. Reuse is different from recycling, because reuse, it can be, I have bottles which are, for example, bio drink, so that bottle I can put in a waste stream and going to increase the volume of waste, and therefore disposal area are going to be filled much faster. So if I'm going to reuse that one, because the reuse, it has too many. Either you reuse the same material again. So I have a glass of drink, or I say bottle of drink, so I can send it back to manufacturer, so they wash and clean everything and refill it again. So that is reuse. You have the other reuse is meaning that the same material are going to be manufactured to other products, like aluminum cans. You cannot refill it again because you cannot close it again properly, and therefore you melt it again and reuse the same material to make another cans. So this again reuse. The other thing is recycling. Recycling, you are going to recycle material to something else. Yeah. This material are going to be produced different thing to be recycled to another product. So there are many ways of recycling. So what is the advantage? Advantage of this is, first of all, we're talking about reduce, recycling, and reuse. These are going to decrease the volume of waste that we are producing daily.
Okay.
And that is, again, if you are reducing the volume, you are going to reduce the cost of waste management in the country. And that's because transportation costs will be reduced, you get less volume and then less transportation. Then you are going to reduce the volume of waste that's reaching landfills, because most of waste are going to reach to landfills. Therefore, pressure of getting land and landfill, instead of using, if you have a landfill capacity, certain capacity, you can fill it for 10 years or 20 years, depend on the volume that you're sending there.
Okay.
So increasing the lifetime of landfills, that is also the advantage. Another advantage, an unseen advantage, is environmental cost. Because everything you are putting outside, there's environmental cost in it. Because everything is going to be decomposed, or you're going to throw it. And this is increasing the environmental problem. You're going to create pollution. If you have landfill, just to give example in landfills, because you are dumping your materials, a lot of material will be decomposing. You have some material which are hazardous material, should not be there, but they are there. I've seen that they are including in there. So you have some batteries, for example, with decomposition material like organic material. You have some paints, you have plastic materials, and you have also electronics included in the same waste stream. What will happen? In the landfill, materials are decomposing. You have rain, you have organic material are decomposing, and also this hazardous material like batteries, electronic and so on, transformers in the radios and so on. All these transformers, these are extremely hazardous material. Contain cadmium, contain zinc, all magnesium, all these hazardous material are going to be part of the landfill. What will happen? Will happen that this material will decompose, will create leachate. Leachate is a liquid material coming from landfill. Leachate is extremely poisonous. If you have mixture of this material, organic material, hazardous material, plastic, electronic materials, batteries, cells, and so on, all this coming as a leachate. If you look at it, it's extremely hazardous. What will happen if you have landfill which is not engineered to protect, not lining, no lining for protection to going deep, it will go to groundwater. Polluting environment, the soil, polluting groundwater. The groundwater underneath, if you're understanding the features of groundwater, is not stand still. It's not still standing still there. It's not. It's moving, and some channels. Therefore, you have landfill here. It may be going to channel, and 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers, 10 kilometers away, people are getting water from wells, and they're drinking, they use it, unaware that it contains a lot of poisons. Okay, gases are there, and these gases tend to go down like carbon dioxide, causing water to change the chemical properties of water and soils, as well as you have some methane gas and other gases, nitrogenous gas, actually going to the atmosphere. That is increasing greenhouse gases, increasing climate change problem. So just unrealized that I take my bag to outside my house, and there are a lot of issues to be considered, people not aware. From management point of view, transportation, landfills, and environmental cost, environmental pollution, all of this come back to people themselves, because you have material going to the atmosphere, people, they only breathe, coming back with the rain and polluting the land. Everything you put aside, you think you have get rid of it, actually come back to human themselves.
So basically that is a disadvantage to us.
Yeah.
When we put the fields out there, definitely it will come back to us. Like you made a clear statement that when we bring all these batteries and hazardous materials to the landfills, it can even get as far as getting to the wells or the water that we drink, and we know that a lot of people don't have access to water. Some use streams, some also have boreholes in their homes, and not all of them can get a machine to treat it. So basically, we are still harming ourselves. Interesting.
Harming ourselves.
I see.
Very badly.
But I have
from the pollution, also from the what we are from air, what we are breathing, also is coming, because you cannot avoid.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to breathe it. Therefore, slowly you're increasing the illness, and society will be getting this material through all the way channel, through soils, through plants, through material that you are eating. It will, you cannot avoid it.
I see. So, but on the other hand, I have seen people. I was watching a documentary on Al Jazeera where I saw people reusing plastics.
Yes.
You know, to build homes, to build houses, to build pavement blocks, and a whole lot of things. Do you think that that is the future? Or do you also think that it will get to a time that we are not going to use cement again, maybe as a country or something? Because now one bag of cement is 73 Ghana cedis, and we are all thinking, or we are all pushing that we have to reuse our plastic waste. What do you think of this?
Okay. Reuse of plastic has many advantages.
Okay.
As well as disadvantage.
Okay.
Okay. So this is one of the advantage. So we are taking this plastic and use them to produce other things. Producing other things, going to production stream again, it is one way of reducing plastic going to landfills, because plastic tend to not to decompose. Not like organic material will decompose after some time, but plastic can stay there for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. Because many plastic, like look at this bottle, maybe is not decomposed. So many plastic material will remain there for many years, and that is adding the problem. Okay, and plastic themselves actually contain a lot of materials. Well, PCBs, dioxins, a lot of phenols, hydrocarbons. So looking at plastic actually contain inside a lot of material, maybe above 200, 300 molecules of material that are actually very harmful to human, to environment, and to wildlife and plants.
Okay, so aside...
From your question that using this to make homes, to make bricks, to make other things is good thing. Okay, and the future, if people are collecting this material and using to make this one, that will reduce the volume of plastic going to waste stream. That's a good thing. But we have to be aware that the plastic also is harmful. So if these materials are made good, compacted very well, so using at homes and not contribute to the food chain, to the chain, to the human. So it should not be going to human, because you don't realize people even sometimes sitting on the chair or plastic chair, materials can transfer from the chair to your clothing, to your body.
Hey!
Yes, this can happen. A lot of material can be that. So plastic is doing that. So if you want to explain the chemical process of plastic or what is happening to your body, how can you absorb that, is well known in scientific background. I mean, reactions can happen. Burning of waste.
We will come to the burning, but so are you trying to say that the processes that it goes through to you know the house I'm talking about?
Yeah. Is good
it's
in
not
terms
okay
of
to
the
stay
reduction is good, but it also has to be looked at the long-term benefit as well as health benefits. So if you can understanding that this material are very well compact and the type of plastic that can be used, because I'm telling you, to recycle plastic is advantage, but there is a disadvantage that sometimes when you look at look at this bottle, I have this plastic here and this plastic, they are very different, and the one which is also here seal, there are total three type of plastic different. Okay, if I take this sending to recycle, okay, mixing them together
with
sometimes
sand.
is problem.
With sand.
Well, mixing them together.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So if I'm going to make my bricks or making any material, so I should select which type of plastic I should use.
Okay.
Mixing them, it can cause future problem.
Okay.
Okay. So although we have technology to put things together and use material, but also it has to be looked at the health issue on this.
Okay.
Okay, so, but do you think that future people, they will not use cement? And no, I don't think that. Okay, because using cement is a big also advantage, as well as the cost, and maybe using recycled material sometimes not cheap. Okay, looking at recyclable materials, papers, for example, a few example. Paper, when you're using 1 ton of recycled paper, you save about two tons of raw material from the plants, from the plants or raw material.
Okay.
But again, you have to look at the issue in terms of the cost. Is it cost really high? Because if you produce new papers or new plastic, is it cheaper than recycling, or recycling cheaper than reuse? Sometimes it's not easy, you have to calculate very carefully. Because like papers, making new paper is much easier than recycled paper.
I see.
Much easier. Taking raw material from the nature is much easier to make paper than recycle. People, they don't realize recycled paper will have a lot of things. First of all, if I have paper, maybe you have clips there, or that metals had to be removed. Okay, it's cost. Okay. Second thing, that when I have 1 ton of papers recycled from schools, from universities, from offices, from homes, each of these paper, or you can find about 40 grades of papers are produced in our society. 40 grades, almost this minimum, I can tell you.
Wow.
They're mixing them, then producing new paper. The quality is not becoming good.
I see.
So how I'm going to separate each grade separately is impossible. Okay, this is one thing. The other thing, inside paper, you're not taking a plain paper and send it to recycle. This already I used. Using
The
your
ink.
pen, ink, colors and everything. To remove those colors is actually expensive. You need a lot of chemicals, leachate, and bleaching material. Therefore, what you are using, hazardous material, to recycle is more than producing new pulp.
I see.
Yes.
Interesting.
And therefore, you have to count. Is it cheap to produce? Okay, maybe cheap, but environmentally good or not? So maybe, in my opinion, if I have forest, I cut trees, making paper, and I regenerate my forest, that is maybe best option than recycle. Because when you recycle, is it society accepting recycled paper? Because the color is different, quality is different. So everyone is making. Some countries, they did a lot of program on recycled paper, but all this remain on the stores. Therefore, all companies bankrupt and closed.
Wow.
So you have to look at the many options.
Okay.
You have to look carefully on these programs. Is it cost effective, hazardous point of view, as well as long-term process? Is it feasible or not? So all of this together, you should study and make a study of that, then you can decide it.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
If materials cannot be used for recycling, not feasible, not reusable, people are not accepting in the society. Separation is very difficult. You have about 40, 50, 60 grade of plastic, then separating, then cost, and also you cannot mix together, then becoming the quality becoming reduced. First time recycling, second time is not possible because of mixture of this plastic everywhere. Therefore, there is another option for reducing this stream. All this can go to incineration, and you can make another option, which is waste to energy through incineration. But again, incineration should be carefully studied, because if you're burning plastic, improper burning can cause a lot of environmental hazard, health hazard, both environment and people, or human being, plants and animals and so on.
What of burying?
But you are burning in incineration process or incinerator that are actually designed to burn and producing energy and preventing pollution, preventing emission of hazardous material, emission of dioxins, emission of PCBs, emission of hydrocarbons. If you prevent, have proper filtration, and therefore what you coming out is just carbon dioxide, and all hazardous materials are compacted and not allowed to go to the environment, to the air and the environment. That will be good because you get a lot of energy from burning of plastic and other materials. And then the ash can be used for example, road repair, road making, and so on. But you have to be careful that hazardous material coming from this burning should not go to the environment.
I see.
Should not go to food chain. Should not go to rivers and oceans. So if you are making good program and good management of all of this, then recycling and waste to energy becoming a proper solution.
What of burying? When you are burying them, maybe you have a plastic, instead of sending them to the landfills or somebody coming to collect, send them to the landfills, you decide to dig a hole in your house and just put everything inside and just
if that can, very good opinion or very good idea if you have organic materials, because they'll decompose to and making fertilizer.
Exactly.
Because this decomposition can happen there. But decomposition of materials are actually producing huge amount of methane gas to the atmosphere. Okay. So decomposition, if you have decomposer or decomposition processes like for decomposing material and producing fertilizer, you should collect methane gas or gases which is coming. That methane gas is used for home cooking and so on. So collecting gas, not allowed to go to the atmosphere, is very big advantage. What you get here, you're reducing waste volume to waste stream. You are benefiting getting fertilizer. Okay. Again, you are getting methane gas that used for production of energy.
I see.
And therefore this advantage. So always recycling or using material or making good plan of waste management is actually the advantage.
Okay.
Okay, but always landfill, like waste, how we should utilize our stream is very important.
Okay.
And planning waste management, actually it must have government, there has to be goals. What the goal of my waste management? Okay, this is actually including pollution reduction, volume, waste in general, transportation. All these has to be set proper goals. Okay, strategies and integrated waste management. What my plan actually, and all goals and strategies should be realistic and can be achievable. Realistic and achievable. I can list, everyone can list goals, very excellent goals and very nice strategies, but is it realistic and achievable? Therefore, I have to look at these goals and my strategies. For example, I can plan for my goals and strategies for 2030. Okay, bring all the strategies and goals and look, my capacity of doing that. Do I have financial resources? Is it ready for people to do this achievement? Do I have resources to do that? Do I have technology to achieve this goal? If not, then I should expand to 2040. It doesn't mean that I'm very relaxed, no, but your goal should be realistic and achievable. So you have to study in terms of the how can achieve this, readiness of people to these goals and strategies, resources should be there, technology also should be there. Okay. There's no use of making all goals and resources without technology, because now as the volume increases, therefore technology should be there. You cannot say that I need only everything manual or everything should be done on the like old system. No, modern society and modern way of thinking of waste management is different completely from the old age or old waste management. So all of this should be in proper way. So when making my strategies and my plan should be achievable and realistic.
Okay.
This is my
That's fantastic. And we are wrapping up actually. I want you to give us a brief, a breather on the hazardous waste and how best you can deal with it. And then you give us your final remarks.
Okay. Hazardous materials. What is hazardous material? Hazardous material, or to define, I need 1 hour. But I'm going to make it very short, very summarized.
Okay.
What is hazard material? Hazard materials is any material coming from human activity, human society, human activities, whether it's household or transportation, industries, whatever it is, weapons, all this. So hazard material is any material which is known to be fatal or hazardous, like chemicals. Some chemicals, solvents, dioxin, PCBs, hydrocarbon, are in their nature are already known to be hazardous. So this is a class of hazardous material. Or any material that is toxic to human, to environment, plants and organisms, that is also hazardous material, is toxic. Any material which is has very high rate of reaction, reactivity, very high of reaction, is also called is grouped as hazardous material. You ask me what the reaction? Reaction that because this material are causing a lot very sudden reaction to body, to environment, to plants, to material, to building. Okay, and therefore is corrosive. Okay, even the building and the materials, so these are all hazardous. Any material that is causing fire or can be ignite very quickly, if you put it and it cause fire and cause hazardous. So, so in general, these are criteria of defining hazardous material. So it should not be toxic, should not be corrosive, should not be ignite quickly, and should be not causing illness. This is in terms of material. Then any material which is infectious, okay, like virus, bacteria, causing disease to human or population of wildlife, this is again is hazard material. So people they think only chemicals. No, even you have infectious material coming from hospitals, coming from different biological treatment and so on, which is causing diseases, as infectious disease, that is hazardous material. Then any material which is radioactive, producing alpha or gamma or anything X-rays, this is all hazardous. So hazardous material is a broad.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah. So if you want to describe each of these, we can describe. But let us see how we can reduce. From where they're coming? They're coming from industries, mostly known as industries, hospitals, producing a lot of hazardous material because infectious material. Even modern hospitals, they have X-rays. These are hazardous material because inside they have radioactive material. Then you got to other activities like militaries. Now industries like pipeline industry, they are using a lot of machines or equipment to check leakage. Inside contain lethal dose of radioactive material. So now hazardous material we find everywhere.
I see.
Coming from houses, I already mentioned, like batteries, hazardous material. And therefore, how to reduce? It must be a proper plan from the authorities, integrated waste management, how to reduce, prevention of emission of this other material, prevention of going to liquid material, solid, to go to the waste stream, then solid hazardous material should be also prevented.
Okay.
And therefore, you need integrated hazardous waste management.
I see.
And this itself is a topic to be discussed in detail.
Great. So what will be your final remark? We are wrapping up. We are wrapping up.
Yeah, my final remark, coming to household municipal waste, hazardous material, radioactive material, medical waste, all of these, what we can say, we say that we're starting everything we use, human are using, are coming from raw materials. Okay. Then raw material, we are sending or doing some changing industries or making those material to products, whatever products, textile, food, equipment, electronic. So going to product that is usable for human. Here, we're using those material. Any remaining or unwanted material from all of this is going to is called waste. So here, we have to choose whether we are sending all this waste to landfills and causing all environmental problems, or we do something that we say, we try to reduce this volume, and then whatever is necessary or impossible to reduce, they are coming waste. So we have to make options of reuse, recycling, or energy, waste to energy. If you go there, and this going back, the energy is going for production, materials are going as a raw material, and therefore materials are going on the stream or on the chain from this. So in this case, you are reducing, taking raw material from the environment. So every time, my remark that raw material should not be used unless it is extremely necessary. So first, we should use our material should be utilized properly or to maximum utilization, so to reduce raw material. This is one thing. That mines should not be open unless it is necessary, because every time you're producing material from mines or raw material from forests, you are increasing the volume of waste. So we have to manage our materials. Materials management is very necessary. From what we are using, from what we are producing, we have to reduce, to minimize our waste production, and then whatever we produce, we have to utilize properly. The residual that cannot be used for reuse, recycling, cannot go to energy, cannot go to any of this plant, those actually should go to landfills. Going to landfills, my remark is, should not be dumping areas. This should be avoided completely. Must be engineered landfills. Engineered landfill with proper lining, preventing emissions of gases from landfill. Those gases should be collected. Leachate should be collected and treated properly. So nothing going to groundwater and nothing going to atmosphere. This is an engineered landfill. So my remark that we have to manage our materials and manage properly our landfill, then we'll be safe in this environment.
Wow, we have to manage our materials so that we'll be okay in where we find ourselves as a nation. Wow, such an insightful and intense conversation we had with Professor Salim on how to combat waste in a nation in Ghana. Thank you so much, sir, for coming to our studios. It's really an educative information that you put out there, especially on how to the recycling and everything. Thank you so much for the 3 hours. Reduce, reuse, recycle. That is fantastic. Thank you so much for coming once again. All right, so this show is proudly sponsored by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. I suffering from stroke, diabetes, infertility, and any chronic diseases. Kindly locate them in Accra, Spentex, Tema, Kumasi, Tachiman, and Takwade. You can call the doctor himself, Dr. Edubuatin, on 0244 867 068, 0244 867 068. Don't forget to also follow us on our social media handles. Facebook is CMGA TV, YouTube CMGA TV, Twitter at CMGA TV, and Instagram also on CMGA TV. Our website is www.cmonline.com.gh, your authentic online news portal. A public service announcement. Okay, so on Friday it's my birthday, and thank you so much for your wishes that are already coming in. I am very grateful. So Friday, God willing, is my birthday. A public service announcement. Until another exciting episode of Broad Daylight with me, Priscilla Moore. Bye.